Hey, welcome to part 2 of Meet Me Monday with Glenda from Grace and Fire with Glenda. Thank you so much for being patient with me.
You
can't
all
see
are
me?
honestly the best. I can see the chat now.
Wait a minute. Lori, you say you can't see me.
Oh, that's okay because I said we're on our way in. We can see you now.
Okay.
You're good. Let me just check on my phone and I will. Yep, you're in. You're good.
Okay.
We are good as golden. I can see everybody's. Yeah, I can see people chatting away.
Oh. Hey, we just roll with it, right?
That's it. That's all
I just noticed. I just noticed we're wearing almost the exact same color shirt.
I was going to ask a question. Did we get share the memo? This is
I don't remember that being in any of my emails. Did you email me?
I think, yeah, I did. I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
The live up the last time, and then I just want to make sure we were the same color.
Color coordinated, I mean, that's
how we roll.
My Idaho girls got to stick together, right?
That's right. That's right. Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, I know we were talking about gardening, but
I asked a question while you popped out, and I want everybody to answer that question down below about what seeds do you grow every year? What vegetable or fruit do you grow every year? And if you're a gardener,
Chris,
or not a gardener, but you wish, please let us know too.
Before we go any further, I have to go and welcome everybody now that I can see you. Okay, we got to start the official Ann Lynn show. Welcome.
Hi, Mama.
Lynn the Okie Dokie, welcome. Jennifer Ocean Homestead, Lynn's Prepping for Heaven. Crafty Witch, welcome in. Rebecca Touched by Yarn, I'm so glad you're here. Look at there, Grace and Fire with Glenda, you're here, welcome.
I am.
Ashley, Shades of Gray, I'm so glad you're here. And Heather's in lurk mode. I'm so glad you're here. Glad you could join us. Let's see. Troy, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Let's see what he has to say. Hey there. VA home health care approved and starts Wednesday. Praise God. Awesome.
The dance, because let me tell you, home health care from the VA, I'm wishing you the best. We have a wonderful home health provider that comes and takes care of Sir Grace for me a couple days a week. And I'm just going to pray that you get the right person to come to your house and help you out with whatever you need, because they're a godsend.
Absolutely. Home health is hard to find.
It is.
And to find the right one for you.
Yes. And we've gone through 2 people, Troy. So if you have trouble, make sure you have that communication open. Because our first person I was not a fan of, and so we got a new person. And let me tell you, it's been nothing but a godsend since we got the second person. And she's not allowed to leave us. I'm just like, you can't leave us.
I can't tell you how many I went through before I finally ended up just completely losing my services because I couldn't find the right person and the agency wouldn't work with me.
Oh my goodness. Well,
they told lies to health and welfare, and I ended up just losing my services. It was just awful. But
I'm so sorry. That's awful. Well, our VA, from experience with our personal VA, and when you see one VA, you see one VA. I mean, I have to be honest with you, but I had that open communication with them and also with the agency that they third-partied it out to. Mm-hmm. And so open communication is key to this. So don't be afraid to speak up.
Absolutely. You have to be your own best advocate. No matter whether you're with the VA or private.
Exactly.
So Texas Raider, Chris, I'm glad you're here with us. I hope you're continuing to feel better. Let's see. Have I missed anybody?
Did you say hi to Jaden?
Oh, no. Did I miss Jaden?
I don't remember.
I'm so sorry. Welcome, Jaden. Let's see. Kristen, Bella's Whisper Farmstead, I'm so glad you're here. always so supportive. Oh, okay, there's Jaden. Sorry I missed you earlier. So let's see. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I kind of alluded to it, but you are family by virtue of having been in Idaho for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I consider you family.
Oh, thank you.
And so we kind of have that little connection going on there. You know, my beautiful Idaho home, as
Yes.
we are fond of calling it.
Yes,
And
it is Idaho. Mm-hmm.
so tell us a little bit about your experience here in Idaho.
Okay, absolutely.
What were your favorite parts about being here?
Oh my
What
God.
brought you to Idaho? And
Yeah. So as I said in the other life, my husband was in the military, and we moved to Idaho. We went to Mountain Home Air Force Base is where we were stationed at. And it was such a lovely place to live, to be honest with you. We lived in Mountain Home, the town, at first. And if anybody knows the area, you know that between Mountain Home and Mountain Home Air Force Base, it's about 10 miles or so apart from each other. Mountain Home Air Force Base is not actually in Mountain Home, and there are no mountains in Mountain Home or Mountain Home Air Force Base. That's deceiving, I think.
But it's a misnomer.
Yeah. But
the mountains aren't far.
They're not far. They're at the base of Mountain Home, the town, not the Air Force Base, because then you're further away. but you know, I laugh about that. But what I was told, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, is that originally the city was in the mountains. And then as the railroad went through, they kind of moved that way. The city moved, is what we were told, which is why Mountain Home isn't in the mountains anymore. But at one point it started out in the mountains and then just kind of kept backing up to get closer to that railway. That's what I was told.
You know more about Mountain Home than I do. Okay. I have family that lives in that area.
Okay.
But I don't know Mountain Home's history. Okay. I know Boise West.
Okay. Yep. So we lived there for 3 years, but we lived off base for about a month or so while we were waiting to get a house onto the installation. And so I loved it, but we were always out and about. Some military spouses won't get off of a military installation. I never understood that. I enjoy traveling. So we would go different places all the time. And one of my favorites was taking my children, my older ones, not my baby, my older ones, to the mountains in the wintertime. And we had our own little sleds. My husband and I would take the kiddos and we'd go sledding off the mountain, which is not like, don't think I'm going to the tippy top of the mountain, but we knew were like the really good places to go sledding were at. And I have some of the best memories of the kiddos going down with my husband on the sled, or I doing it with the kiddos, taking turns. In fact, I remember the last time we went, the snow was so deep where we were at that, like, I'm short, so it went up my thigh. You know what I mean? Like, you'd step and it was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of this or not. But I don't know, we had such a wonderful time. And then we used to go fishing all the time on the Snake River. And we'd take a picnic lunch and just on a Saturday and just enjoy, or on a Sunday too. We did that after church. And we would just go and enjoy just hanging out and fishing and being a family, having a picnic. And we did that a lot. There's a lot of outdoorsy things. We went to Shoshone Falls a couple of times.
That's so amazing, especially if you can catch it in the spring during the runoff.
Yes.
Did you get to see the rooster tail?
No, I didn't. I did miss that one, but it was so, I don't know. I loved it. We took my mother-in-law to Shoshone Falls, and then we took my sister when she came to stay with us there, and we just, I don't know, it was just the best, just to be outside.
You don't go there and see Shoshone Falls if you don't like to get wet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it's misty, but it's the
Very.
Niagara of the West is what they call that. And I've been to Niagara Falls many times, and I would say it does have a lot of Niagara-esque feeling, but it's not the same as Niagara. I wouldn't call it Niagara Falls, but I get why they call it Niagara of the West.
It is actually deeper, taller, I should say, than Niagara Falls.
So we did that, and then we would go into Boise a lot. In fact, I bought furniture from there too in Boise that traveled with us all the way up until a few years ago. And I'm like, okay, I would like new furniture. But we went to Oak Express in Boise. I don't know if you remember Oak Express or not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we bought our furniture there, and yeah, pretty cool place to go visit.
Yeah. Did you guys ever make it to Idaho City?
No, we didn't.
No.
That
is the neatest little town up in the mountains. And it's not very far at all from Boise. Up above Lucky Peak.
Okay, I know where you're at. Yeah.
It's just above Lucky Peak.
No, we went to, I because it's been so many years ago, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but I'm going to describe it. So when you got right into Oregon, like, because we'd go to
Ontario.
Boise. Yes. And then there was a pumpkin farm there that we would go every year. And I cannot remember the name of it. I'm going to have to go back and look at my pictures, because I know somewhere I've got it written on the back of one of the pictures of where we were at. But we would take the kiddos to this pumpkin farm in Oregon, and I loved it.
I am 23 miles from Ontario.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Do you follow Garden Answer on YouTube? Don't. Guess where she's from?
Where?
Ontario.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, no. I will have to go follow.
It's a big channel, though. She's got like millions of subscribers, okay? But her parents own a garden center, and they have her and her husband, Aaron. They have, I think, 10 acres of land, but I watched it get developed. Like, I remember watching before they moved on to the property where they're at now. But yeah, and they go into Boise and Caldwell all the time. And I've seen how Caldwell has changed. I don't ever recognize any of it.
Well, back in the 1991, I believe, census, Caldwell was around 18,000.
Wow.
This last census, we are close to 70,000. But
oh my God,
to just come into the city, it does not look like a 70,000 city. It is so spread out, and it's still small town America. It still has that cozy, sleepy little town feel. And we have 2 colleges in the city.
Oh, wow.
We have the College of Idaho, which has been here since the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the Treasure Valley Community College.
Oh, wow.
But you'd never know it to walk into or drive into the city, the way it's all sprawled out. And our downtown is still downtown. And they've opened up the Indian Creek. And because it was covered.
Okay.
And they've opened it up, and they've redeveloped downtown to make it a destination.
Oh my goodness.
And but so many of the businesses close. We have one restaurant that closes at 7:00 in the evening.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of restaurants are closed by 9:00. Some of them stay open till 10.
Okay.
Fast food, some of them are open a lot later. But to find a place to actually sit down and have a meal. Like when Jesse and Lisa were here, we closed the restaurant down. They close at 9:00. We left at 9:30. They were closed.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a city of 70,000 people.
Yeah. But then you guys have like more like outlet-y. There's an outlet mall. Is there not?
No.
Okay. There's a shopping center to me. I don't know. I thought it was an outlet, but there's a shopping center.
There used to be an outlet mall east of Boise.
Right.
But it's pretty much defunct.
Oh.
We used to have Karcher Mall in Nampa.
Okay.
But it's pretty much defunct. But they have the Village, which is a huge like outdoor mall.
Yeah.
That's in Meridian.
Oh, okay. Meridian. Okay.
And then they still have the Boise Town Square.
Yes. Yeah. Because we used to go to the Boise Town Square to do pictures for our kiddos. There used to be a photography like for children. I was telling you a little bit ago, but I think it was named like Candid Kids or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. It was on the second floor. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was a neat place. One of the other things that we enjoyed doing, which I thought was really odd, the way that this was set up, I don't know if it is today, but when we would take the kiddos to the zoo, there was 30-minute parking everywhere because you could get in and out of that zoo in less than 30 minutes, which is great for littles.
They have parking for the zoo that's longer than 30 minutes.
There wasn't back then. I just remember all this 30-minute parking, and I'm like, okay, kids, we gotta go. But it worked out perfect when you have littles, because then you're not. When I say littles, I'm saying like under 5 years old. And you could just get through it. And then I remember there was a rose garden there too.
There's a rose garden. There's the Idaho Art Museum.
Yes, there's an art museum there too.
There's also the Idaho History Museum in that little area, the Julia Davis Park, and they have paddle boats in the river, the Boise River that runs through the park.
Yeah.
You can rent paddle boats.
Oh, that's
They have totally redesigned and built up the Boise Zoo. And around the corner from the Boise Zoo is the Children's Discovery Center.
Didn't they have that back then?
I'm pretty sure they did.
I remember that for some reason. Yeah. It's been a hot minute, but I mean, we're talking, my kids were little when we lived there, and now I'm a grandmother. So if that gives any perspective on how long it's been since I was there.
Your kids are pretty close to the same age as mine.
Yeah, they are very close in age. But no, I know things change, but I'd love to go back and see the area. We have a friend of ours, kid is stationed at Mountain Home Air Force Base, and he lives in Boise.
Okay.
Yeah. So we know somebody that's there right now serving in the Air Force. So it would be nice to see him and, maybe even see the area. I'd like to take, the kiddos and go, here, this is where we lived at.
When you come, we'll have to get together.
I think that would be a plan that we need to do for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, Idaho is a lovely state, so definitely.
It is. I love it. I can't imagine living anywhere else. And I've lived in California and New Mexico. So.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
So just changing gears a little bit, because we could sit and reminisce forever, and everybody would be going like, I wonder what you guys are talking about. But So let's talk a little bit about your channel.
Okay.
You have your channel named Grace and Fire, and your husband is Sir Grace.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name of your channel.
Oh, super easy. Super easy. And a lot of people think that I'm either really nice or I'm fierce. Well, I have that too. But many years ago, I had like a I wanted to come up with something to empower myself as a caregiver, right? Because I want to give that background to that. It actually stems into that. So when you go into a VA system or you're going into the military medical system, my husband worked in the medical system, but as a caregiver going in, you're constantly being thrown darts at the caregiver. Like they really just don't want to hear from the spouse. They wanted to call me the whining spouse, or they just didn't feel like what I was trying to advocate for wasn't important. Now, this was years ago. Things have changed. I've seen that change, but it is frustrating. It is daunting. And then when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't advocate for themselves, and you're just like, you go into these appointments and they're just sitting there going, I'm here, I don't remember. I don't, and the caregiver's coming in going, this is what I'm seeing. Right. And they tell you, shut up. I don't want to hear from you. It's very hard. You feel like darts are being thrown at you. So many years ago, I had my little mission statement, as I like to say. I am a Christian. So she is a woman of grace, even in the heat of the fire, is my little mission statement. And it's something that I live by every day, because you have to go in and be graceful, but you have to be direct back at them, and more things done to take care of your wounded, ill, or injured service member. So that is where Grace and Fire came from. But and then Sir Grace, it was a fun name that Jesse and Scott, my big brother who's in the chat, hey Scott, they came up with, because Sir Grace actually has a king in his family history, an Irish king, because I'm real big into ancestry, and it became a joke. I found a knight in mine, and I'm like, I have a knight, and they're like, but he has a king, and so he's royalty. And so because of Grace and Fire, we couldn't call him Sir Fire, because that's not who he is. Right. Very gentle soul. And so he was given the name Sir Grace from Jesse and Scott. So yeah, I love it.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect name for him.
That is.
Yeah. So that's how the channel got it. It goes back into my caregiver in my mission statement.
That's awesome. So anybody that were to stumble onto this interview in the future and they wanted to find out more about your channel and what they could expect to find on your channel, tell us a little bit about what you do, what kind of videos you put out.
Absolutely.
And what they can expect to see.
Absolutely. So I share, and if you go back into the older videos, you'll see me out hanging out with my crazy flock of chickens, because I like to share what I know about chickens. And I want to be uplifting too, and encourage people. If you can own hens, do it. Let me tell you how much fun it is. So some of the older videos are there. I've also shared a little bit of cooking videos. I hope one day my grandbabies come back onto it and go, oh, here's that recipe that Gigi made, and so there's a little bit of that. And then on Saturday nights at 4:45 Eastern Standard Time, I like to just sit down and talk with people and just hopefully bring a ray of sunshine. It's been, a lot of people have to work and they have those long, hard weeks and they're just done. And I just want to be uplifting to people and just chat away. I think that we need that. There's so much negative in the world. And I think it's so important to take a step back and go, listen, there's so many blessings out there. You just have to take a moment. And even if it's something so small, that counts. Every little small blessing that you get piles into something big. So yeah, I want to be uplifting. I hope that that's what people get from the channel, is just the power of positivity and kindness.
Well, you definitely are a ray of sunshine.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I try. I have my bad days too. Trust me. I mean, Scott will know. I've come in sometimes and I'm like, and some Grace, poor thing, but it's important to remember those good days too.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything else that you'd like us to know about you or your channel?
I think that's pretty much it. I do share a little bit of gardening. I've been gardening since 2011, and it started with a cherry tomato in a 5-gallon bucket. And I've shared a little bit of the things of the garden. I haven't gone too far into how I garden, but I need to start doing that a little bit more, because I think it's a lot of people don't realize it. Jesse and Lisa had the opportunity this past fall to come over, and I think it was kind of a shocker when they saw my garden. It's pretty big. It's not a little garden. I have a 30 by 40 plot that
nice.
And it's not my land either. It's kind of part of the chicken land. So I garden up against a cornfield. I know that they use different sprays and things. I'm not here to debate that, but it's about learning how to grow with the space that you're given. And it's much better than going to the grocery store, because I can go out and get the most beautiful, delicious cherry tomato, or I can go get my Kajari melons that I can't buy anywhere else, my Chinese long noodle beans. And then I also preserve foods too. I can. I dehydrate. I freeze dry. I have a freeze dryer. I've had it for a couple of years now. So I share a little bit of that also on the channel as well. So.
I really want to start preserving. I have a few jars, and I have a water bath canner as of this last summer, but I don't even have a canning book. So
oh my goodness. Well, you don't need a canning book to get started. The National Institute of Home Preservation online, they have free recipes. That's where one of the places I started before I even had a book, and they teach you about all things canning. And if you ever need help, you reach out to me, girl. I'll walk you through it.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Then freshpreserving.com, which is the ball jars, they offer free recipes as well. So you don't need a canning book to get started. You can find these recipes at these trusted websites where they've tested it. It's safe for you as long as you follow their instructions. Tried and true and free recipes. You just print them off and then make it.
I don't have a way of printing unless I get my son to print them, and then I got to go into his house and get it. And so, but I have made freezer pickled beets, and then last year, not this last growing season, but the season before, I made green tomato preserves. Or jam. Oh my gosh, I am hooked on that, but I didn't get to make it this year.
So I did green salsa for the first time 2 years ago. I had all these green tomatoes, and I knew that they weren't going to be able to ripen unless I put them in a paper bag and brought them in. We were about ready to get our first hard frost. So it was like, what do I do with all these green tomatoes? And I made green salsa. And instead of using green chilies to make enchiladas, I used my green salsa. And I just used up the last jar. And I didn't do anything from this past season. So that is on my radar, because I need to restock that. That was so good.
Have you ever made or tried green tomato jam?
No, but that sounds so good.
It's so amazing, because tomatoes are a fruit.
They are.
And people don't realize that, but they are truly a fruit.
They are.
And you can make them sweet.
And
it's super easy. But the thing is that the recipe that I have was not one that had the directions for actual preserving them. It was for, you just made it, put it in a jar, and then store it in your refrigerator. And so I thought that I heard them seal, but I didn't know if they were truly
right. You want to make sure it's properly done, because you don't want to get sick from it.
Right.
But I'm sure I'll take a look through my books and see if I can find something. If I can, I'll send you over a recipe for for
That
one.
would be awesome.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, and then I also ferment salsa. Have you ever had fermented salsa?
No.
No? Oh my goodness.
No.
I
That
need to
sounds
do a video
interesting.
on it. I've been fermenting salsa for years, and it can last in your refrigerator up to about 6 months. And it's got all those probiotics and prebiotics, really good for your gut health.
Right.
Do not eat a ton of it because the next day you'll pay for it because it's got all this good stuff in there.
Yeah.
A little bit of too much is not good, okay? But it's good just in general. And it takes on like a fermented-y taste to it, but it's not like in your face. You still taste the tomatoes, the onions, the jalapenos. It makes jalapenos hotter. I do want to warn that anybody who ferments and you're concerned about jalapenos, maybe get a nata peno, which is a non-heated one.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I appreciate
Mom, I
that.
appreciate you. That is my mother. She's the one that's on the left. So they have their own little channel that they started.
I have been to the show a few times.
Yes.
And it's fun.
Yes. I'm so proud of the two of them for having their own channel.
Yeah.
So, or their own channel, I should say. Yeah. So have a good day, Mama. But I've also fermented jalapenos too, just in general. And my oldest loves when I make them, and it really does make them hotter, but they take on that fermented taste, which is totally different flavor. It's really hard to describe, but it's really good. So yeah, so I do a little bit of that as well. That's kind of a newer one that I've been doing. But
very cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like preserving. I just did it for fun. I didn't do it because I had to. But I will say learning how to grow my own vegetables, preserving things. I'll even go to my local Costco and I'll buy chicken and I'll pressure can that too. So I'm not above it. I'll buy grocery store and I'll can that stuff up too. But learning these skills has been so good for me. It's given me an outlet, but then it's also helped the family in times of need. I've been able to go here, take this, take that, take this, take that, and to be able to share and cut people's budgets, or maybe they're looking for something. When you think a few years ago, it was really hard to get into the grocery stores and buy certain things, and I had it on my shelf. And I'm like, here, take it. I've got it. Or go out to the garden, help yourself, bring your baskets, bring your bags, it was nice to be able to share. And then now what I do with like my.
Lost your volume.
Is it still okay?
Now you're back.
I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah.
I love to share my produce with people. My aunt goes to a church about 45 minutes from me, so I like to load her down and go pass this on, pass it out. I love to share.
Yeah, I just have raised beds, and I have I try not to overgrow because it's just Logan and I, and then I share with my son and his provider.
Yes.
I try not to overgrow because I don't want to waste.
Absolutely.
And so, especially where I've not been able to do any preservation.
Right.
Then I really don't want to overgrow. But inevitably there's always a little bit of waste.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole bunch of those giant cow protein lick tubs.
Oh yeah, those are awesome to grow in.
Oh, they totally are amazing. I have 12 of those.
Oh my gosh.
And they sell for a lot. If people know what their value is, they will sell them for a lot. And one of Logan's former coworkers just gave me 12 of them.
Girl, that's amazing.
Plus, I got a whole bunch of the little goat protein tubs.
Oh,
So,
girl, you scored, because
I know.
I love growing in containers. I mean, I started out that way. I started out, I didn't know that you shouldn't use the Lowe's or whatever, the non-white buckets, the food grade ones. I just went and bought a little container. I ain't gonna lie. That's how I started. And then I learned, okay, I need to be using food grade. Though what you're using, fine too, by the way.
Yeah.
But I love a good container gardening. It makes it easier. I have a raised bed right now. It's pretty big. And then I have compost bins in the middle of there. I've got two of them because this bed is so huge. I put compost in the middle and it leaches out the nutrients as it breaks down.
Oh, okay.
But I like that gardening the best because as we're getting older, I don't want to be squatting down on the ground. You know what I mean? And that's hard on your body to have to constantly do that. So I love container gardening and I love that raised bed. That's the way to go. If you can do it, because it's the way to go.
I'm not physically able to do in-ground gardening. And we had a 16 by 40 in-ground garden, as well as 4 raised beds.
Wow.
And I would do the 4 raised beds while Logan tended the in-ground garden.
Yeah.
And then a year ago, the mobile home park where we live was sold. It's been 2 years now that it was sold. And the manager came around and told us that we couldn't have our in-ground garden anymore, and we couldn't have our raised beds in the area where we'd had them for 9 years. And we had to move them back into our prescribed lot. This area where we had it is going completely unused, completely wasted, nothing but weeds. We had worked that ground, tilled it, turned it into fertile ground, but now we can't use it. So we moved all of our beds into our yard.
Wow.
And built we built 8 beds.
Okay.
5 of them are self-watering raised beds.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, I want to convert my other beds to self-watering.
Yeah.
They are awesome. I'm not standing out there every single day. You know what the weather's like in the summertime.
Yeah, it's hot and it's dry. And so it's sucking that moisture away from those plants very quickly.
You have to go out there and water every single day because it's nothing to go from the middle of June to the middle of August with 100-degree temperature every single day and not cool down overnight below 70.
Right.
So those poor plants, they don't get a chance to cool their roots.
No.
And so I was out there every single night watering.
Wow.
Every night. And I would do it just as the sun was starting to drop. And I wouldn't overwater, but I would water enough so that they could cool the roots and have a drink.
Right.
And they weren't becoming waterlogged or anything like that. But it was the best time of day to water for here. And it was tiresome. But now I fill the raised beds a couple times a week. And they take care of themselves. And I've had the best plants, the most healthy plants ever this last year.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
It was a little bit of work and a little bit of upfront cost to build them.
Oh, yeah.
But, I'll never go back.
Yes. I think when you do anything on the upfront, if you stop and you think about what you need in the long term, it's going to save you. You know, it saves you water. Okay, great. You're going to have to pay a little bit more upfront for the parts for whatever, right? And that can be costly, but stop and think about it. You're then saving your time and you're saving water because now you've got that. It's just up underneath, so it's not going to dry out as quickly. You still have to water, but it's not it's not every day where it's drying so fast.
Right.
So if you can think ahead of the game, man, that long road. Mm-hmm.
And if you have to have somebody come and tend to your plants, they're not having to come every single day and water.
No.
You can have them come 2 to 3, if you're going to be gone a week, have them come and check them 2 to 3 times during the week, and make sure the bed is completely full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It might take a while to fill all those beds, but you're only doing it 1 or 2, maybe 3 times a week versus every single night out there trying to water.
And you could add in yours like a composting bin. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just take an old pot, punch holes in it or something, you know what I mean? Or take an old strainer or get a PVC pipe and put that down in there with holes in it, and then throw all of your scraps in the middle, and it'll leach out all that nutrients. See, it'll cut back on how much fertilizer you're adding. So I mean, that would be something.
I don't do anything to my gardens. I don't do anything fancy to my gardens. Nothing.
No,
I water.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I have the compost because I'm wasting or not wasting, but you have your kitchen scraps or whatnot. So that all goes back out into the garden and it leaches. And then when I pull plants, I put them all back in that composting and let it just do it.
I turned one of those big protein tubs into a compost bin.
Oh, yeah, that works too.
And I've already got half a tub almost completely composted.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I have I haven't even pulled it out and used it, but I still have it. And so this summer or spring, I'm going to try it. But I have a worm composter. Have you ever done worm composting with the castings and stuff? Yeah. So I have one, and that's something I'm gonna dabble in this year because it's just sitting there. I need to pull it out. I read up on it, and I had every intention to do it. This was maybe 2018 when I bought this thing, 2017, like years ago, and it's just sitting there. So
it just sounds like so much work compared to just throw your scraps in a tub and stir it now and then,
No, not really. All you do is you take it's like a container, and it's got layers. You put newspaper at the bottom, and then you just get it wet. And then you get, you just go to the pet store and buy some red wigglers or something. And you just put your worms in there. And then like when you shred your mail, it's a great way of like shredding, like, you know what I mean? Good way to compost and getting rid of some of those documents. Run it through your shredder, get it started. And then you just throw your scraps in it, and there's no tilling or nothing. You just got to make sure it stays damp. That's about it. But it's a good way of composting, and then you get the worm castings to put back out and all that. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. I mean, I can get
it works for you.
$2, and I've got all the paper and stuff, so why not?
Yeah.
Out there's the bills. We're shredding it up, What do you do with the bills? You put it in the compost.
All that junk mail.
Junk mail. We're going to get rid of it. Yeah. Let the worms deal with it.
Right.
So that's on my radar to try.
So what are your future plans for your channel?
I am just enjoying the ride and just sharing what knowledge I have. Again, I said this just a little bit ago with the recipes. I hope that one day my grandbabies come back and go, oh, this is so cool. I didn't know this, or, oh, she did that. I hope to be able to shine a light in their lives and let them know that, as things happen, and this is, you got to stay positive, or, oh, this is how she gardened this, or look at these crazy chickens that she had. My God, she was crazy. I want them to have a good laugh. I want them to learn. So that's my goal with the channel. It's more about my littles.
Having a legacy for your family.
Legacy. Yeah. A little something about me that they didn't know, but in the meantime, being uplifting to other people, just hoping to bring that ray of sunshine to each and every single person.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I promised you a little game.
Oh, I love games. Yes, let's do it.
It's nothing too fancy, but I did this with another guest and had a little fun with it.
Okay.
And we're just going to do a little rapid fire.
Oh, okay.
So I'll throw a phrase out and you just give me the first thing that pops in your head.
Okay.
So this is just rapid fire favorites.
Okay, favorites. Okay.
Yeah. Your favorite food.
Chocolate mint. Anything chocolate mint.
Okay. Favorite drink.
Right now it's the Element powder that you put into your water. It's a salty water flavor, watermelon. That's my favorite.
Ooh,
right
salted
now.
Watermelon.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Favorite music genre.
Rap. Believe it or not.
Wow, I would have never guessed.
Second favorite's country, but yeah, rap. I love a good rap. Toby Mac.
Country rap.
No.
That would be weird.
Rap, then country. Rap, then country.
Yeah, but I'm combining the two.
Oh, well, let me think. Who was it? Was Tim McGraw and was it Nelly, or was it that they collabed? So then that would be country rap. Yeah, there you go. I've got somebody.
Okay, favorite city to visit.
Tucson.
Okay.
I love Tucson.
Let's see. Favorite color.
Blue. I love blue. That I don't know why. Dark blue though. It has to be dark, not light. Light, but dark, yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's that Air Force wife in me still. Maybe. I don't know.
Favorite dessert.
Oh, my grandmother used to make the best lemon meringue pie, and I have her recipe. Oh, that's my favorite of all time.
Have you ever had lemon meringue pie made with lemons that were just barely picked off the tree?
No. Oh, that just sounds divine. Oh my goodness.
When I was a little girl and we lived in California, we had a lemon tree in our yard.
Oh.
And my sister and I, we would get a hankering for lemon meringue pie. And we would look at each other, and each of us would grab a lemon off the tree, and we'd go inside with the lemon behind our back. Wow. And we'd go up to Mom and we'd say, Mom, we love you. Oh. And we have a lemon meringue pie, and we'd each hand her a lemon, and she'd make us a lemon meringue pie, and we had just picked it.
I bet that was just to die for. So good.
The lemon inside the pie, the jelly part of the lemon meringue pie, was almost clear. It wasn't yellowish like a lemon meringue pie usually ends up being. It was almost clear. The juice was just, and the tang, the flavor was unreal.
I bet it was so good.
Sorry.
No, that just sounds good. I just thought I am the saying country then rap. No, I'm rap then country. Summertime is definitely country vibes for me. Oh, okay. Well, let me just add to this real quick. So rap is because when I go to the gym, it's like I am going to get through this workout, and you got to have something to upbeat. And yeah, so that's how I get through the gym. Then country. For cool down, like when you got to breathe. That's kind of get yourself back together. Sorry, I had to add that because I saw that Shades of Grey made that comment, and I'm like, I had to explain the rap country thing out, I guess, maybe a little bit better. Going down the road, Mozart. There you go, because we all got to stay calm.
Favorite animal?
Actually, it's Sir Grace's dog. That is my favorite. And then my hens, number 2. But I love this dog. I mean, oh my gosh. This past week, this weekend when I was live, he actually opened the door because he just wanted to hang with me. And if you go back and you watch the most recent live, you will, right towards the end, you will see what he's trained to do. And that is to open the door. And I knew in that moment he was fine, that he was just wanting to hang with his mama. And that it wasn't an emergency, but he is trained to come and he'll circle me. And if he's circling me, then I need to stop exactly what I'm doing and get to Sir Grace. There's a problem. But,
that's awesome.
But on the live, he came in, he just wanted to hang out. Like, I looked at his eyes and I'm like, okay, yeah. you're okay, dude. I know what it is. You just wanted to hang. So yeah,
that was so sweet.
He is a hot mess. He is a German Shepherd and a standard poodle mix. He is just a hot mess. And everybody thinks he's an Irish Wolfhound. I'm like, Irish Wolfhounds are like this big. He's this big. So
that's so cool. So we're going to talk about your bucket list.
Okay.
So, what would be your number one place to see?
Hawaii. I lived there, but I was little when I lived there. So I only have one memory of it, and that's it. So I would love to go back and see it.
And if you could go anywhere in the world, that's where you'd want to go.
To see again. Now, I have a state park that I would live in if I could. I'd build a house and never move out if I could go to this one state park. But I would love to see Hawaii again. I'd love to see where I lived at. Maybe go to the ocean. That's a bucket list.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
For your bucket list, what is the one experience you would like to have?
Experience that I would love to have.
Like skydiving, or going on a cruise, or bungee jumping, or paragliding, or I don't know, just an experience, a roller coaster that you've always wanted to go on. Or hey, Ginger, glad you're here.
Hey, Ginger. I would love, let me think. That's a good one. Can I come back to that one? Because I got to think on that one.
Sure.
I got to think on that one. Sorry. Bucket list.
How about if you weren't a caregiver for Sir Grace?
Yep.
What would your dream job be?
I always thought I'd be a CEO of a major corporation by now. But, I would love to work in the nonprofit world. That has always been a passion of mine. I volunteer for a very well-known organization. It's a nonprofit, and I represent Indiana with this nonprofit. And I think being able to work for it and being able to know that I'm making a difference in somebody's life, that would be a thing that I would love. I honestly would. It's kind of hard to describe that one, but I've been on the volunteer side. I'd like to actually work there and see some of the people,
Right.
Yeah. So that would be a neat job to have. But I always thought I'd be a CEO of some major corporation. I'm very business minded, and I love the business world too. So I don't know. I'm not the medical side of things. I got forced into that one. Now, let me tell you, Sir Grace worked in the medical field, and we had some really interesting dinners. So
I'm sure.
I'd ask him, "What is this like?" And then we'd be talking about all kinds. I won't get anybody grossed out, but we'd have these conversations over dinner. So I was forced into it, and then business is my passion, and helping people is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your dream car?
I want an old pickup truck like from the 30s or 40s. I don't, just any of them. I love those trucks.
Like the ones that the Waltons drove.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would. I don't want a new car. I'm telling you, I saw, what is that? Oh gosh, what's the one that Elon Musk? It's his company. I saw one of those.
The Cybertruck.
I saw one of those today.
Those things are so ugly.
They're ugly. It was at Costco today, and I'm like, oh,
I saw one, and I was like, what the heck is that?
No, that ain't cool. I'm sorry. If you like it, that's okay. That can be you. But I want an old pickup truck, like the one that, like before the computer parts were put in, the ones that smell like gas driving down the road, You
know what my son told me? We saw one of the new hybrid Mustangs.
Okay. I haven't seen one of them, but
yeah, it was all hooked up to the charging port over at the Flying J in Caldwell. And he told me that those newfangled Mustangs have a switch in them that you have to hit to even have it sound like a Mustang. And I was telling him, I was like, so you can choose what it sounds like, is what he was telling me, to make it even sound like a car.
So and I was like, I want to be a brum brum.
Yeah. And I was so I was like, oh, so you can choose the sound of the Mustang. So you're hitting the buttons and it can go vroom, vroom. Oh, I don't like that sound.
I'm a wimpy Mustang, not the muscle Mustang. I'm a wimpy Mustang.
He said they run so quiet. They have to put a chip in them to even make them sound like a car.
No, that's it. I think I can. I don't want one of those. I want it. Give me the good old ones. Okay, listen. That's where I'm old.
Exactly. That's good old. That's a wannabe.
Yeah. No.
No. I just bust a gut when he told me that.
Oh, no, you will not see me in one of those or in one of those trucks either. You'll never see me in those. Like any old fashioned. I mean, I've been in a Model T car. I was in a parade many years ago and I got to be in a Model T, and that was like, that was so awesome.
I got to ride in an old 1926 Willie's Night. Years ago. I know. It was awesome. It had been all restored to its original splendor, and that was so cool.
That just sounds awesome.
So did you think about your experience, your bucket list experience?
Yes. I'd like to travel the world like nonstop and go to different destinations. Like if I could have all the money in the world, right? Mm-hmm. I've been a military spouse. I've lived in other countries, but I would like to go nonstop. Like from here to maybe England to Scotland to Germany to France to Greece. I'd like to just go nonstop,
that would be cool.
Just nonstop and go travel and get off and then go see the sights. Yeah,
that would be cool.
That would be fun. I love traveling. It's just fun, and seeing different cultures and different people and trying different foods. I'm kind of a little bit of an adventure type personality.
So, that would be so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. So, well, that's really all I had. We've actually been on for about an hour and a half.
Oh my goodness, this is new.
So, I mean, if everybody's having fun, we'll just keep talking. But I want to,
I got nowhere else to be. I got nowhere else to be. So this is totally fun. I'm enjoying myself.
I am too. I don't like the way my camera's picking me up today, but I'm kind of green. But
You're getting ready for the garden.
Are there any questions from the chat? Anybody have any questions for Glenda?
Or any quick round questions too? That would be fun. I'd love to have the chat add in on that one.
And welcome Beverly Moffat and Dan and Kathy with Handicapped Travelers. I saw you sneak in here. So if you have any rapid fire questions or just questions in general, please pop them in the chat. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
This has just been so much fun. And I saw it back up in the beginning of the chat where people did answer my question. Let's see here. Crafty Witch says she grows, I'm assuming it's she. I grow peppers, tomatoes, herbs, and squash. And that was what it must be in their garden at all times. That's what I'm assuming, which I appreciate you for answering that question, because I like to know what people grow. It's so much fun. Let's see.
I appreciate everybody being so active in chat today. That's awesome. And for coming over and joining us in part 2.
Yes. Oh, yes. And it was my fault. I'll take the blame on that one, because, you know, if you were doing it for a year, you had it, girl. And then here comes Glenda bringing the problems.
No, I think I know what happened. I'm pretty sure I know what happened, and it's on me. So
we just roll around. We roll with it. Let me take the blame for you, girl, because I'll just roll with it. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad.
Oh, Troy, I didn't even see you sneak in. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's Troy. I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. Troy, I am really glad you're here. I was thinking of somebody else.
Let me tell you something. Troy is, I mean, he's got a story and a half, and he is a fighter, and he's a go-get-em. He's been through a lot.
Yes, yes.
The community has kept him in prayers, but let me tell you something. It's nice to see that military DNA shine, where you're not going to back down. You're going to get up and you're going to get going. So Troy, you just keep shining a light, and you keep getting better, because you've got a testimony and a half. So
I just now saw this. Rebecca, Touched by Yarn, please let everyone know I will not be going live tonight because I am not feeling well. Rebecca, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. Definitely be keeping you in my prayers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You
and
are.
If anybody's planning to go watch Rebecca tonight, she will not be going live.
And Rebecca, I'll be praying for you, hon.
Yeah.
She makes the prettiest hats. She made me one, and I love it so much. It is so beautiful, and I don't know, just it kept me warm. We've had a cold blast with our weather changing. Of course, we got hit with the first round of snow, and then the weather dropped. And at that time, I got Rebecca's hat out, and I had it on. And I'm like, I'm thinking of Rebecca today, and I rocked it out, and I've had it out since, and it is so wonderful. She makes the prettiest hats, and she uses a loom. And it's something that I would love to learn to do. And Rebecca, did you do your how-to video? Because this girl needs to learn how to do that. I've got arthritis in my hands, and I love to crochet. I love it, but I can only do so much. And then it's like, okay, I'm hurting, you know. And I love all things homemade. You haven't yet? Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing it. But she will soon. Okay. Well, first off, you get better. But second off, I hope you do that video, because I need to learn. I really want to know.
I was in a car accident. It's been 10 years ago now, and I'm right-handed, and this whole right arm was damaged in the car accident.
Oh my goodness.
And kind of put my crochet and my coloring out of commission. So
I just had surgery back in March. I want to make sure I'm saying the right time frame. I had a bicep tear, and but for 7 years prior to that, it was a little bit of a journey because I was in a lot of pain, and I went and saw this doctor, and he completely ignored that I had a tumor inside of my arm, inside of the bone, didn't tell me about it. So during 2020, the pain, like it just kept coming back and it was hurting. And so I completely changed providers. And I did some physical therapy. And then she said, "Did you know that on an MRI you had a tumor?" And I said, "No." And this doctor didn't tell me about it. No idea. Had this tumor inside my arm. And so she said, "Well, I want to send you back for some more imaging." And so I went back, and during the shutdown, when you had to go to the doctors by yourself, I got a call on a Sunday, which they never call patients on Sundays.
No.
And so it was her staff member who said, "We need you to come in at this and this time," which was first thing in the morning. "The doctor is holding up her vacation. She needs to talk to you."
Oh, so that's never good.
So I got sat down and was told, "Glenda, we think you have chondrosarcoma. It's a rare form of cancer. I knew somebody else who had it. We're going to send you on to see an orthopedic oncologist." So that happened right through the shutdown. So this kind of like is going in with the reason my, crocheting hurts a little bit. So I made the decision to have the tumor removed. So then I still had more pain. Even after that had healed up, and I went back and then they said, "Your bicep tendon is torn as well." And going back to that original MRI that the doctor ignored the tumor for, he also ignored my bicep tendon. So yeah, so it's been a journey for me. And crocheting was always hard. So when I say, because you have to hold your arm like this, but now I'm back in the gym and I'm working out. I'm doing 80-pound kettlebell swings and,
Wow.
and 155-pound deadlifts. So I'm pretty strong now, but it's the old hands that now we got to figure out how to get the old hands to stop hurting so I can get back to crocheting. Yeah. That would be a nice thing. So I went on a long journey, but Rebecca, I need to know that.
That's awesome.
Little thing. Yeah. But it's okay, Shades of Gray. I mean, and Crafty Witch, it's okay. With the tumor, I know somebody who passed away, and he's buried at Arlington National Cemetery. He got it while he was on active duty. And Sir Grace and I were able to go to DC. See, breastfeeding. Oh,
that's an awesome idea. That is awesome.
And I'm not laughing.
No way.
I think that's smart.
That's so brilliant.
Think about it, Rebecca.
I know.
They're half circle. Well, not half circle, but they're circle. But then you can take that thing and put it backwards, right? And then
because it puts your baby in the right position. It would put your arm in the right position to support your baby.
I don't like that. I think.
Oh my gosh! I'll tell you what. This entire day, my arm has been just aching and throbbing this whole time we've been sitting here. And it does all the time, off and on. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, that pillow just might be my answer.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared that tip.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not funny to me at all. It makes
not at all.
Sense. Yeah.
I mean, I live with a tear in my biceps tendon, or actually not just the tendon, it's the bicep itself. And I had a rotator cuff tear, and both were inoperable. Plus I had the clavicle, and there was something else up in here that was repaired. I had a reduction done years before the accident.
Right.
I've had a lot done to this, and just a lot of injuries, and I have complex regional pain syndrome in this arm. So,
my goodness.
And I've had the ulnar nerve was crushed in the accident, and they went in and they straightened out that tunnel so
Mm-hmm.
that the nerve wasn't pinched anymore. And
my husband actually had that done in both of the. It was transposed. He's had it done in both of his arms too. That's painful. I watched him go through that ulnar nerve.
Oh, I had instant relief on it. But I lost a lot of dexterity in my hands. Well, this hand anyway. But I'm still having constant pain because of the complex regional pain syndrome, plus the inoperable tears.
Well, that pillow idea might help you then, because I mean, she's saying you're able to rest your elbows on the corner pieces. I think that's smart.
It is.
I think it's super. You'll have to give it a try and let us know how it works for you, Karma. If you can find one. I mean, I see those at thrift stores all the time.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm gonna have to get one now because I'm sitting here thinking about this too. I wonder if that would help me with wrestling too.
I'm thinking about just sitting around. Just, you know, just being able to sit around and be able to use my phone without my arm going numb or hurting.
For several years, like during this stuff that I went through with my shoulder, I was using pillows and I would have to like get it just right, you know, and it just never was right. But I wish I had thought about that tip. I could have used my daughter-in-law's pillow when she got done. Pass that thing over to me. I'll pay you for it. I wonder if she still has it. I'll have to reach out. Maybe that.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rebecca. That is so awesome. I am going to start looking for one.
That's super smart. I love going to thrift stores too. I've got a problem with that. I love the thrift store. Girl, let me just say, I'm a secondhand-aholic. I love all things secondhand. I mean, goodness, did you get the memo? I went to the thrift store and I got my sweatshirt. Speaking of.
My mother-in-law sent me this.
Oh, that's even better. Having a good mother-in-law.
She's wonderful.
Sir Grace's mom, she's no longer with us, but she was the best. She was so kind. And every morning she would call before my children would go to school. I just want to talk to my grandchildren. And I'm like, you got it. I mean, she just tried to find ways to connect with the kids, even though Sir Grace was in the military, you know, and there was that distance from where she lived at versus where we were at. And I always hated that my children didn't get to grow up with both of their grandmothers and their grandfather. But I had a really good one. And I hope my daughter-in-laws, I hope you love me too, because I love my daughter-in-law and my son-in-law. I have one of those too. But I told him you're just my son, period. Because am I the favorite one? I'm like, dude, I will declare your name as the favorite. So now I'm on a hunt that says my mother-in-law's favorite, like shirt. So he can rock it.
That's so cool.
You know? He came over just not too long ago. And it was fun. He let his hair down and I'm like, good. Now I get to see the real you, you know, like just goofy. And I want my daughter-in-laws and my son-in-law to know that they want to drink out of the fridge. This is home, you know? I hope, because I had a good mother-in-law. And so I hope to emulate that with my bonus kiddos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I won't ever have the opportunity to be a mother-in-law or have grandchildren. And so I'm happy for those who get that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have to say I had the best one though, best mother-in-law. I love that relationship to be able to sit back. Now that she's gone, I think about her often and what life she lived, full of positivity. She had lupus. And, you know, that's such a horrible, horrible illness. Horrible. It's rotten. And for such a wonderful woman, you know, like I I wish I could have taken it away from her because we'd still have her. But I love just that bond, just spending time with her. And
my mother-in-law has fibromyalgia, lupus, and Sjogren's.
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
Hashimoto's.
She had Hashimoto's as well.
Yeah.
I don't think she had Sjogren's, but she had fibro. And then her sister had, well, she's still alive, but she has MS. And I guess those are connected to each other somehow.
Yeah.
And I wish I could take that all away. Good people do not deserve the bad things. Sorry.
And while she deals with all of that, she's caring for her husband who has dementia, frontal lobe dementia.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yeah. Oh, welcome in, Marisa.
Oh, I had a wonderful mother-in-law as well. We were friends before I actually met her son. She absolutely moved it along. I love her for it. I kind of feel the same way about my mother-in-law too. But now I've known my mother-in-law since I was a little girl. I was very little, and she was family. And I can say I knew my sister-in-law while she was in diapers. We're two peas in a pod. We almost grew up together, her and I,
That's cool.
But yeah, a good mother-in-law makes it so much easier. I mean, you always hear the bad things, like, oh, it's the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I had this amazing woman. I wanted to be able to shed a light on her. She was amazing.
I felt that way about my ex's family, but that wasn't a good situation there. Sure. I have amazing, amazing mother and father-in-law now.
Oh, that's so important. And I think making those memories with them too. I think, and I'll tell you from the mother-in-law side, because I am a mother-in-law, I love the relationships. Like I love being able to say, you can come to me over anything. I enjoy your presence. And I'm sure your mother-in-law feels the same way about you. I just enjoy you. I love being around you. You can just come and hang out, or we can just talk, whatever, and I'll listen. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. I know my mom felt that way about Logan. And my mom and Logan were very bonded in the short time that they got to be together. Oh. And they shared a birthday.
Oh, they did? Yeah. What a cool thing to have. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's amazing. That Logan will always remember that too. Like I got to share it with her. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they had a pretty special relationship. They could talk about anything and tease and laugh and joke, and we have some fun little memories and special things that took place, and hey, Teresa, welcome in.
She's right down the road from me, a few hours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got to meet Teresa this past early fall. She won one of Sir Grace's handmade ink pens, and I got to see her name be called. And we've given ink pens away. He turns them on a lathe, but I never get to see anybody's reaction as they see the pen for the first time. And that's something I'm so grateful to have watched with Teresa. She lit up like the 4th of July. She may have been thrilled and excited, but I think Sir Grace and I were more than what she ever was, just to see her reaction and see her face. And it was a blessing.
That's so cool.
It's a blessing too. So yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we met up at, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it's Homesteaders something meetup that was in Kentucky. And that's where I met her at.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing any questions or anything in the chat.
Good, you guys ask questions. Oh yeah, in Kentucky, but I can't think of the name of the place. Ask some questions. What do you really want to know about me? Rapid fire questions. Yes, that's Rebecca's. That's how I felt about the pens.
Yeah. I know I enjoyed it when I was crocheting and I would sell a piece or whatever. Being able to hand them their finished product and see their reaction was just, it was so rewarding because I didn't sell things for what they were truly valued at.
Right.
And I would sell reasonable. You know, it paid for me to go to Missouri where Logan was living at the time and for us to be reunited. And as long as I got to go to Missouri, that's what counted.
Right.
And you know, the people that bought from me, to see their reaction, that made up for the difference in what it truly was worth and what I charged.
Yes, that's it. I agree. I echo that. That is amazing. Oh, we have a question.
You, Alfonso,
Yay!
would like to know if there are
Alfonso.
musicians in your family.
I do. I do. So yours truly used to play the flute and the piccolo. I was in the marching band once upon a time, and I can say that one time at band camp.
Oh my goodness.
I was in the marching band. I did it for 7 years. And currently I have 2 cousins that they can pick up any instrument. Let me tell you, they make me feel awful because they can play anything. Like, just hand it to them and go, here you go. And one of my cousins is actually in a little small, like, garage band. And
oh, cool.
Fun. Yeah. So we do have musicians in the family, but excuse me, I used to be in a marching band. That one time at band camp when I had to.
I'm sure glad I didn't have any coffee in my mouth when you.
It's so funny, you know. I have some of the best memories of being in marching band. Like, we were goofballs. And I mean, my senior year, I remember freshman week, and they paired up the freshmen. Like, we would get so many people, and the senior would be in charge. And we made them do all kinds of weird things and dress up and do skits. We kept it lighthearted. Nobody was to feel hurt or anything. It was all very much just fun. And yeah, I have some of the best memories. And then I got to go to Canada when I was in marching band. And that was my first experience as an older person going out of the country that I have memories of. And we were the last marching band from our school to leave out of the country because people in our group got all of us into some trouble.
You rebel.
Oh, now I was a goody two-shoe. I was in bed, sound asleep.
Oh, yeah, listen to you backpedal now.
Excuse me. I was actually very much a goody two-shoe. But at 5 o'clock in the morning, we were all the doors, bang, 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 get up and get in formation in the parking lot. And we're all like, what? So we all got in formation in the parking lot at this hotel in Toronto. And we all got our butt reamed. I guess people in the middle of the night from our kids in our group would get up, and they were running up and down the hallways, and they were getting in the hot tub, and they were causing a ruckus, throwing garbage everywhere. And I mean, rightfully so, but we all didn't do it. There were some of us that were nice and sound asleep, but we were the last ones to leave out of country. But yeah, and my band director taught up until about 2 or 3 years ago, and she finally retired.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to see her, and I've gone back and I've volunteered. They do invitationals where we're the host band, and we'd have competitions on our field. And so I've gone back and helped with that. In fact, the last time I did it, my daughter was in color guard, and I took her to her high school, and dropped her off, and I didn't tell her I was volunteering. So I dropped her off, and then I drove as fast as I could to my school, my home school, and checked in. And I said, I want this school, my daughter's band. And so I didn't say anything to her. And so here comes the bus, and I'm standing on the side, and I'm not going to say the name of the town or their logo, but I went, welcome, blah, 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 band of blah, 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 blah. My name is Glenda, and I am your hostess for today. My daughter did this in her chair. She was so embarrassed. So couldn't believe I had done that.
That is so funny.
But it was an honor to be with them from the time they got there. And then I went in when they did warm up, and I got to be back there and watch my beautiful daughter do warm up for Color Garden, stretching out and tossing flags. And it was just an honor to stand on the sideline when they were performing, and I was screaming and cheering them on. I didn't care. I was the hostess for this town that I grew up in, but I was cheering on her, all the way. And their color guard took first place in their division. And now we sit back and we talk about that from time to time. She's really glad I had done that. But yeah, I love marching band. Let's see here. I've heard it's a tradition for a musician to trash the hotel room after a night's gig, according to one of my. Excuse me, Alfonso. Are you just like saying, you've heard about this, or have you heard?
Yeah, he's probably admitting without admitting.
That's what I'm thinking. So we got a little backstory. I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
The researcher would like to have a little bit more information. How does one know this? No, just teasing. Or are you a goody two-shoe like I am? Because I'm a goody two-shoe. I'm teasing you, Alfonso, by the way. With love. With love.
Yes.
Did I ever go out to trash a hotel room? Well, no, really, I didn't. Do you ever go out to trash a hotel room? No, because I don't want to have to pay for that. And I got better things to do, like sleep. Yeah, no, I actually am a pretty boring person in person. I'm pretty boring. So I see a hotel bed and I'm like, good night.
Logan and I met through varsity chorus in Jerome.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah. We were in varsity chorus for 2 years together. I was 2 years ahead of him in school.
So she was musical too. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah. Were you like at competition, or what were you doing?
We had a big, huge choir, and we would go to competitions, and
oh my goodness.
We were at a competition. His mom was one of the chaperones for one of the trips. Well, she actually went on a lot of the trips because she was our lunch lady.
Oh my goodness.
And she would go on a lot of the trips with us. And we were at a McDonald's. He says we were in Burley, but I say we were in Boise.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we were at one of the McDonald's, and I was with my friends. He was with his friends, and we happened to be sitting close by. And he was reading a Western Horseman magazine, reading an article about Louis L'Amour. Louis L'Amour was my dad's favorite author, or is my dad's favorite author.
Oh, wow.
And I noticed, and I had seen him before, and apparently he'd been eyeballing me for over a year. Didn't have the courage to say anything to me. And as my friend and I were starting to get up and leave, I struck up a conversation with him about Louis L'Amour.
Okay.
And as I started to talk to him, I turned and looked. My friends had abandoned me, and then his friends abandoned him, and we were left all alone.
Oh, wow.
And it was about 3 weeks before the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Oh.
And so...
Did you ask him to go to the dance with you?
I did.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was so impressed because when I asked him, he said, I'll have to ask my parents.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
He was such a gentleman. And that Southern drawl. And he was cowboy. And I was smitten.
History. Oh my gosh. That is so awesome.
But we were both so painfully shy in high school that to say that we dated the rest of my senior year was just basically, I mean, we only went out the one time, other than the couple of times that I took him home because I was driving at the time, and I would drive him home instead of making him ride the bus. And so.
Oh, that is such a cool story. Oh my goodness.
He was going to take me to my senior prom, but then his dad came home one day and told his family, get the house packed up. We're moving to Montana and we've got to leave in 2 days. It was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And he said, we're leaving Friday night. We got to be in Montana by Sunday. I start my job Monday. And so I didn't even get to go to my senior prom. I already had my prom dress and everything. So my heart was broken. He barely got to say goodbye to me. And we tried to stay in touch for about a year, through my college. And that was about the end of it. And then he found me on Facebook in the very end of November, 1st of December 2010.
Oh my goodness.
And then I went to see him in Missouri in April of 2011. He moved up here to be with me on June 29th of 2011. And then we were married June 28th of 2014.
Oh, I love this story. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's our love story.
Oh, and you're sticking to it. Yep. Oh, I love that.
And I worked and worked and worked to sell crochet to pay for a bus ticket to be able to go to Missouri for a week to spend time with him.
Oh, that is so precious.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. My goodness. Well, I knew mine when I was a little kid, and I thought he was cute, but I was a little kid. And I'm not going to say how little. And we were friends. And his dad was in the military as well. We were both stationed at the same place. And he promised me that someday we would get married. And we were kids. And his dad did the military thing, and my parents divorced. So we moved. My grandfather was a minister. And so we moved here. And then while I came home from band, and my mom said, Sir Grace called. And I went, Sir Grace who? I mean, I had forgotten, but our mothers kept best of friends. And so we rekindled a friendship. And then he flew in for my senior prom.
Oh.
Yep. And then, because he was in another state. And then I flew to I graduated high school before him. Even though we graduated the same year, technically, I graduated first. So I know. So anyhow, we went to prom. I went to his prom, and we took the kids that were disabled with us. We rented a limousine, and he was a student teacher for the kids with disabilities. And that was so much better than going with his friends. I really enjoyed being with them, with the kids that were disabled. We had autistic kids, and we had some that were physically disabled with us, and left me with some wonderful memories. I wanted to hang with them. You know what I mean? Like, I met Sir Grace's friends, and I'm like, okay, but I want to hang with these people. You know what I mean? And so we had a wonderful prom, and then Sir Grace wanted to join the military, and he asked me what I thought of it. And I thought, well, I'm getting ready to lose him in my life. You know what I mean? He's joining the military.
Right.
And he said, no. He said, it's for us. And he hadn't proposed or anything. And I went, for us? And he goes, for us. He said, what do you think? And I said, okay. I said, I'm cool with that. You know, you go ahead and take the ASVAB. And so he took it for the Army, and he failed the Army ASVAB. Go figure. I just think it wasn't meant to be. But he studied it, and he got into the Air Force, and he got orders overseas. And I wanted my grandfather to marry us because my grandpa is everything to me. And unfortunately, he's now in heaven, but fortunately, but unfortunately for me. Okay. Cause
right.
You know what I mean? But I was a grandpa's girl. I love that man so much, and I wanted him to marry us. And Sir Grace said, I got orders to this place. And I'm like, okay. So I flew to where he was at, and we eloped. And so that way I can get on his orders. And then my grandfather renewed our vows. He said, this is what you want. And I said, yeah, I want you to do it, Grandpa. And so we renewed our vows like a couple months later in the church. And I'm so glad. And then Sir Grace had to go on. I couldn't go with him until the rest of the paperwork caught up. And then the rest is history. But we've been married this whole time. I always say poor sucker has to put up with me. Because if you knew Sir Grace, you would know he is the first person to help somebody. He is so kind. He is so gentle. Good grief, he has to have a good heart to put up with me, because I have a little bit of pizzazz in my life. I can be bouncy, I can be mean, I can, but he's a good man.
Wow.
That
is so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Well, when you know, you know.
You do. And I've never looked back and said, I made a mistake. I never once, he's always been good to me. And when he became disabled, it really put our vows into action. And I had to pick up the pieces, and I had to be mom and dad. I wasn't my kid's friend. I was mom and dad, taking care of dad, and I had this conversation with one of my kiddos about how it's fun to see their dad be a grandpa. And I'm like, one of them he was real little, and he doesn't have a whole lot of memories of dad before brain injury. And I said, well, watch how he's treating your child, because that's exactly what I'm seeing, and we've gotten Sir Grace into a position now where he's okay. He's stable, and he gets to be grandpa. And that is like the coolest thing ever. And it's like looking at him as a dad, when mine were little, when ours were little together, but I'm very blessed to have him here.
That's a treasure.
We almost lost him 5 times. And so when I count my blessings, it starts with that. Thank you, Lord. I have Sir Grace. Thank you, Lord. And always saying the word disability is the word ability. And you
absolutely
have ability to keep moving on in life. You can do anything you want to do. You may have to adjust how you do it, and that's okay. Adjustments is okay, but strive for anything, because you can do it. You can do it.
Oh my gosh. God just gave me an acronym for disability. Difference is still ability.
Ding, ding. Ding,
That's
ding.
what the DISC means. Difference is still ability.
It is. It is. It is. And you have the ability to do anything you set your mind to. You do. You absolutely do. I mean, okay, so maybe like, okay, let me think. So let's go back to the gardening thing. And I mean, I'll just, as we get older, things change. But I know a lot of people who are disabled who say that I can't garden. I'm like, oh, honey, yes, you can. We'll make those beds higher, or we'll do, we'll do this. You just change it up. That's it right there.
That's right.
I'm legally blind, but it doesn't stop me from playing music or doing my art. Absolutely. And that's what brings you joy and keeps you going every single day. Every single day. And it's okay. I mean, let me show you something that Sir Grice did. He makes these ink pens.
Oh, that's so gorgeous.
Okay. And if you knew Sir Grice, you'd understand why I'm proud of him. And then my ink pen holder. It's a little barrel.
Oh, I love it. It looks like a root beer barrel.
It does, doesn't it? And so my ink pen just sits down in here.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
He made that. I mean, okay, so he does it on good days, right? So he has good days and bad days. And when he does his bad days, we just sit and let him have a bad day. And I'm going to love on him even harder. When he has those good days, he gets out there and he turns on that lathe, and I sit back and I'm so proud of him. And we celebrate that more than we celebrate the bad days. We'll celebrate the good days.
Right.
We'll honor those good days.
Hey, Tiffany, welcome in.
Hey, girl. Let me tell you a little something about Tiffany. I have to just brag on her. I love her grocery hauls. She, I must say, how do I want to put it to you? So she has assistance, right, with food. And I think breaking down that shame needs to happen, because so many people get assistance for food, and I'm such a proponent of it. If you need it, that's what it's for. I'm not that person that's out there going, shame on you. I get so annoyed by people that do that. But I love how she's breaking those boundaries, and she's showing what she got and shining a positive light on it. And then on some of those videos, she shows what she's creating with it. And I have to say, I've been in those footsteps. I'm not going to lie. My family was on WIC. We qualified for welfare when we were in Idaho. Speaking of, that's how poor we were. He was active duty military.
And I think that's shameful.
It is.
Our military should have to be qualifying for food stamps and Medicaid, and
we were there. We qualified for welfare. The reason we didn't get it at that time, our car value is what the Idaho held over our heads. And it was, our car value was $100 more than their max value on it. That's the key component. And we were so grateful for WIC. We were so grateful for WIC, because let me say that helped us get through some of those hard days. And I learned to cook from scratch with that, but I also was very ashamed that we were getting it too. And I will sit back and I admit to that. And I think because of that, and because of walking in those shoes, I love what Tiffany at Canadian Family Life has done. I love it. I love it so hard and so much. And I love that she shines a positive light on it. And it's a little different because it's in Canada with what she gets than versus what we get. But I love it. There is no shame in going to a food bank or getting assistance or any of that. And she shares that on her channel. It's not anything I'm sharing exclusive.
Right.
She shared that. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it so much.
And I think that those barriers do need to be broke down, because something that I'm still struggling with, the way that I chose to raise my son as a single parent. Trying
That's
to
an important job, though, being a mom.
Well, It is. And
Important.
especially those formative years. I always said I was going to be a stay-at-home mom for those first 5 years until he was in school. I would be at home with him because I am the most important person in his life. And if I don't feed it into his life in those first 5 years, who will? Who will make those choices and feed him those values in those first 5 years?
Exactly.
It's up to me.
Yeah.
And I don't want somebody else putting their values into my child.
No.
And so I made the conscious decision to live on welfare.
Yeah.
In those first 5 years.
Yeah.
And I knew that once he was in school, I would go to work.
Right.
That was my plan.
Sure.
And do you know how much BS I took?
Yeah.
For making, and from family.
Yeah.
From family.
I didn't get it from
as well as outsiders.
It was Sir Grace's coworkers that they thought I was the lazy slob of a wife to sit at home and make Sir Grace work. Well, I worked at night when the kids were asleep. I was cleaning buildings, and we still qualified for welfare. So I heard it too. And I think that's the worst thing you can do, because you're having to make those hard decisions in life and you're doing the best you can. And you have people coming. It's kind of like the caregiver thing. They're throwing darts and they don't even understand where you came to this and this decision to ask for help. And it needs to stop. You're hurting people. If you're putting down somebody who's on welfare or on WIC, you're hurting them. You are hurting them. It does no good, because it's not easy to go and hey, I need help. It's hard to walk through that.
And now the way that the laws are, I don't know if this is nationwide or if it's just an Idaho thing. But before Logan got this new job, I couldn't go and apply for food stamps. We're getting Medicaid. He'll probably lose his now that he's got this job, but we both get Medicaid.
Okay.
I get mine because as a qualified beneficiary on Medicare.
Okay.
But couldn't apply for food stamps. Financially, we could, but I couldn't because of the requirements on job searching. Logan had a job, but it wasn't what they consider gainful employment. And if at least one able-bodied person in the home that was applying did not go out and spend 20 hours per week job searching.
I think it's a nationwide thing. I think I've heard this before, and that's so hard.
And it could not be on your own home computer. It had to be on their approved computers or actual physical contact. I'm sorry, but in our area, how are you going to spend 20 hours, documented hours per week without going back to the same businesses over and over? And here's the thing. Logan has disabilities. And there's only certain jobs that he can do without setting himself up for failure.
Yeah.
He can't go work fast food.
Right.
He would last a few days and he would lose the job, if he could even get hired. He can't do cash register. He could go and do Walmart, but he would not last there either.
Right.
So he would be going and getting a job and getting fired. Get a job, get fired. And so we would lose food stamps anyway.
Right.
We were on food stamps. We were on food stamps at one time. And they knew when he was in this program with these requirements, they knew that I had had hip surgery and I had had it done in Salt Lake by doctor's requirements. And that I was required to go back to Salt Lake for a follow-up, and we would be gone for 4 days. We had doctor's notes and everything. And they knew he wouldn't be around to be able to go and do his job search activity. He even told him ahead of time. They didn't excuse him for those days that we were gone. And so we ended up having to pay back over $800 of food stamps because he failed to meet the requirements of the program. And it was an unexcused absence from the class. But they wouldn't talk to him. They wouldn't tell him what the requirements were. They just told him that he had to go and do so many hours per week. Here's your forms, get them filled out and do this and do that. But they wouldn't talk to him. They wouldn't help him. And he has disabilities.
Right. So, I mean, that's what I don't understand. If you know somebody has disabilities and they're meeting those requirements, isn't that kind of like common
But we
sense?
didn't. The thing is we didn't have
them
documented proof because at the time he didn't have Medicaid, and we hadn't been able to go and get the neuropsych eval done, and we didn't have paper trail because he'd never had insurance to be able to go to doctors. And so we couldn't prove any of it except for on my side, where we could prove that I was required to go to Salt Lake for a follow-up and that I would be gone for 4 days. And so we ended up having to pay all that money back.
Sometimes
when it was a documented absence.
It's meant to hurt people. That's what that sounds like to me. It was meant, the system is meant to hurt people.
It absolutely set him up for failure. There's others who can do fine with it. But for people like Logan, it's an absolute setting him up for failure. And so that's why we never applied for food stamps during this whole entire time that he worked over at the barn, because I knew it was just setting him up for failure. And so I do appreciate people like Tiffany breaking down these barriers.
Yeah.
And making it not shameful to ask for help.
It's hard to ask for help. I mean, the other thing that I was grateful for when I was raising the kids, I mean, so the first sergeants, they're the kind of the enlisted guy or gal that kind of, if there's a need or there's a problem, you don't want to be on the bad side of the first sergeant, because that's like if somebody does something and they're in jail and the first sergeant's there to bail you out, you know, you don't want that. But the good side of the first sergeant, you know, many years for Christmas and for Thanksgiving, I'm so grateful they gave us a turkey or a ham. You know what I mean? Because and my kids have this memory that mom cooked and made these amazing meals. Because I'd stretch it too, because I knew like this was a lot of food. We've got to stretch this for our family to last a while. And I mean, we got WIC. My oldest said, I remember when you used to make bagels. And I'm like, that's because our family wanted bagels and I had flour in the house and I knew how to make it. Right. And then the other thing that we had, and I don't know if they still have it because Sir Grice has been out of the Air Force for a while, but they had this like place where people could donate clothes or used furniture or whatnot. It was called the Airman's Attic, and it was a free clothing giveaway. And I volunteered there because I knew that as a volunteer, I got to pick first, you know, and I had my littles at home. And one of the things that when we laugh about today, because these are all these years ago, was how that my youngest, I got him a Sully from Monsters Inc., you know, the movie. It was a Disney costume, and it had like it was actually Disney tagged, and it had the big fluffy tail. And we laugh about him being able to, like, he wore it everywhere. Like, I mean, that kid, we went to the grocery store, we went shopping. I took his brother's sister to the store, or not store, but to school, and I couldn't get him out of that. I just couldn't get him out of that costume, that silly costume. And it got brought up many years later. How could you afford that? That was from the Disney store. He remembered that all those years later. I'm like, baby, I got that from the Airman's Attic, as I did the rest of your clothes. That's how we clothed you. That's how we did it. And I wasn't above going to secondhand too. And that's how, I still go to secondhand. I do a lot of my shopping secondhand because it saves you money. I learned these principles when it was hard. And I'm not saying it's any easier, but I've understood it a little bit better. I've learned how to preserve. I've learned how to save money. I've learned to shop good deals. I've learned extreme couponing because let me tell you, nothing's going down in prices. Laundry soap is going through the roof. Household cleaners through the roof, and now that my kids are all married, they fall on tough times because it's hard being a young family too. And I'm able to go, okay, I paid $2 for this laundry soap. You can have it. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, I'm able to help. Right. But it started with WIC. We wanted welfare. $100 is what we were off for getting food stamps, or EBT now is what it's called. We qualified except for the value of our car. And that was an Idaho thing back in the day.
Well, I think it's any state. If you're over by $1, the computer will kick you out.
Well, we didn't have the computer back in the day. It was somebody who actually did it. But
still, their guidelines, if you're over by $1, they have to kick you out because
I remember go ahead. Sorry.
They are audited. And if they are caught fudging those numbers, they're out. They don't want to lose their job because they're in the same boat you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I remember one time with WIC, one of my kids, I don't know what was going on. We're requalifying and they were trying to find a reason to keep the kids on WIC, and they were like, we don't know how to get you to qualify. I'm like, oh, that's okay. And then I look over at one of my kids and I'm like, why do you have dirt around your mouth? And the child said, I tasted it and it tastes good. And she goes, I found your reason to qualify you. Your kid's eating dirt. I got requalified for WIC because my kiddo was eating dirt like a normal kid that does silly, weird things.
Yeah.
And if you have boys, they do weird things. They do weird things. Okay. The kid was eating dirt and that qualified. And I'm like, what in the world? What is wrong with our system? But no, we need to, the stigma's got to come down. And going to food pantries, there is no shame in that. They get my grandfather, when he was a pastor, he had a clothing giveaway and then he'd also have a food giveaway. And it was like, please come and get. And that's how my mom raised us.
Yeah.
And then I had to raise my kiddos that way. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And loving and supporting one another is what we need so badly.
We do.
So badly. No shame. Let's see here. I found it absolutely amazing to find out that they go by the net of what you don't get instead of the gross and how much you make. Ding, ding. I agree with that. Your brother doesn't qualify for food stamps because he makes too much money before the taxes.
I don't understand why they go based on your gross, because that's not what you actually get. That's not what you get to live on. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, because they got to take out, you got to pay taxes. You got to pay,
Social Security.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand that.
In a way, I could kind of see if they counted if you paid for insurance premiums.
Right.
I could see them counting that. because that may or may not be an elective thing.
Right.
But to count your taxes and your Social Security withholding, that's not right.
No. And I see young families struggling too. I mean, I have one of my kiddos that I see it, and it's, I don't understand things. It just breaks my heart. I'm like, what do you need? What do I need to sell? What do I need to, what do I need to grow? What can I coupon? It's hard. And so you're on SSDI and his insurance is taken out and he makes too much. Yeah, I don't understand that. When they're on Social Security disability, that should be common sense. Like, you're not able to work. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it like 20 hours a month that you can work, which is not gainful employment, but like there is a number with Social Security disability that they have that the person can work. But still, at the end of the day, you're not bringing much in on SSDI. It's not like, hey, we can have this party, get the cake. I'm going to have champagne and the finest wine. You know what I mean? It's hardly anything to start with. I don't get it. I can't answer it. And so I'm glad to hear that you go and you get food from the food bank and you're not ashamed, Rebecca. I mean, that's the biggest thing in the world. I'm so glad.
Well, we've been on for 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh, I just flown. I'm so sorry. I can't check that.
Oh, I'm loving it. Okay. I'm counting the first live in that count, but I think my son is here, and I would like to go and say hi to him.
Yes, go say hi. And it's dinner time where I'm at, so I'm Sir Grace is down there going, I'd like to eat.
But I do have an idea I would like to talk to you about at some point.
Okay.
I'd do a collaboration with you and maybe Tiffany.
Yes.
But I do appreciate you being here so much. I have enjoyed this conversation, and if I could, I would just talk on into the night. However, I do have Talk About It Tuesday tomorrow, and you are more than welcome to come and join us tomorrow if you would like.
Okay,
sounds great. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Not required, everybody.
You got to come back tomorrow for Talk About It Tuesday.
Yes, definitely. And please do go and check out Glenda's channel. I'm sure that there will be plenty on there for you to see if you haven't already. Please subscribe to her. She is just a ray of sunshine, always positive on her videos. Her chats on Saturdays are just so much fun. And
thank you. I appreciate it. I hope to keep that lively and fun and easygoing.
Oh, so far it's been great. I've enjoyed it.
Good.
So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and being patient with me for forgetting to make it public.
Oh, you did fine. Thank you everybody who came in too.
Yes, it's been great. So great. So anyway, tomorrow, 3:00 Mountain, 5:00 Eastern, Talk About It Tuesday. Tacos not required. Ooh. And we'll just hang out and have us a nice chat. And then I will have Thoughts for Thursday on Thursday. I'm going to be starting a new series. It should be about a 15-week series. I don't know if I'll get it started this week or if it'll be next week, but we're going to be looking at the names of God.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
How fun.
So anyway, be sure to be watching for that. And thank you again, Glenda. Thank you, everybody in chat, for being so active. Please, if you didn't hit it on the way in, please be sure to hit the thumbs up, share it out, and check out Glenda's channel. The link is in the description of the first.
It's okay. Video. Or just look up Grace and Fire with Glenda. You'll find me.
Right. So anyway, thank you again, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Appreciate you. Bye.